Welcome. This is For Better and Worth,
the podcast where we don't believe you have to sacrifice your relationship while you grow and build your net worth.
We are your hosts.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Ericka Young, and we're so glad you're joining us today.
All right, y'all, let's get into it. Hey, babe.
Hey.
Just want to say, it's always good to be back with you.
Of course, and today is a very special day, honey.
Yes, I show you love every day of the year. But, brothers, I know for some reason we have to show extra love today. And so I'm just going to show you extra love today, babe. Happy Valentine's Day to you.
Happy Valentine's Day to you too, hon.
Even though I love you the other 364 days out of the year, today is a special day.
It is. It is. And you do a good job. I will say you are an affectionate human, and I appreciate the fact that you like hugs and you always still kisses and
this my baby.
I love it.
Get my baby.
So
I love baby.
Oh, you know what? I cannot with you. I cannot. You know what's funny is for many years I'm not a real boycott type of person, but I'm not moved really by Valentine's Day. I'm not. It is not a must go on a date. And for many years, I was just like, I don't care. We can have our own special moment at home. And because
it's so commercialized, you can't get reservations. And then you go out, it's like 10,000 people everywhere. It's like nobody want to be bothered. I just want to be in my baby. Love baby.
I remember one year in particular, you were, I don't know if it was a storm or something. You were coming back in town on Valentine's Day. I remember specifically that it was a Friday. And I was here with the girls. And I went and got a heart-shaped pizza. It was great. It was great. I had a heart-shaped pizza, and you were coming home that evening because either your flight was delayed or something, and it was just a lot. And we lived here in Indiana, and you were having to drive from the airport, obviously, and get home, and you were like delayed by some hours. And not that we were going to do anything super fantastic, but the heart-shaped pizza was great, and it put a smile on everybody's face. And we were so glad that Daddy came home on Valentine's Day, and he made it.
It's the simple things that matter.
I am honestly, with Valentine's Day, a very simple person. Now, my birthday, on the other hand, is a national holiday.
Your birth month?
Yep, actually, because I celebrate.
That's what it is. It's not your birthday.
It's all 31 days.
Your birth month.
Yes, you are correct. And I always celebrate the entire month. But Valentine's Day is, it's like, I love you and let's do something. But we ain't got to be out all here. Now, last year we actually had a whole date and that was kind of cool. But I'm not interested in like all of the extras. That's, I figure if my husband can't show me love, like you say, the other 364 days, then we got problems anyway, right?
Look, so you hear that, brothers, make sure you showing love 365 days, not just on Valentine's Day. Add a little something in for something extra for Valentine's Day. But, we always talk about relationship goals and couple goals, and you see the hashtags out there. So, we're going to talk about relationship goals today. Mm-hmm. And I'm just curious. When we were, preparing for this, we were talking about, couples that we look up to. And so I'm going to put it out there to you. Are there any couples out there that you look up to?
Honestly, I have always seen longevity as something to admire. And my grandparents were married for over 60 years before my granddaddy passed. And their siblings on both sides, on grandma's side and on grandpa's side, had some people who were married for a very long time. And longevity is not the only thing that I admire, but I will say that my granddaddy, I've seen some things that he had done that was pretty cool. My grandmother, they both ended up living with us when I was coming up for a little bit. And
your granddaddy in his red sweater.
Yes. And grandpa was hesitant to move in with us. When grandma was recovering from some surgery, she was staying with us. And he was reluctant. And he stayed at his home for maybe a month or two. And then one day he came to mom's house with flowers in hand and surprised my grandmother. And ever since then is when he stayed.
How old would you say they were
They were
when
in
he
their
did
80s.
that?
They were in their 80s. They
Wow.
were in their 80s.
Wow,
And
80 years old, grandpa's still running game.
hey, come on now. It was the most adorable thing because he didn't want to leave his home, and I understand that. I do understand that. They lived in their home together until obviously in their 80s, and it was a lot, and we were almost 30 minutes away from them in terms of the drive. And so but it was he wanted to be with his bride, and that
Hmm.
was just super cool. Now everybody has their ups and downs and all of that, but their longevity is definitely something that I appreciate, and the fact that grandpa, he still was getting game. Okay, he was just still showing my grandma that she was special and important to
Right.
her, to him rather. And so that's one couple that I admire, and I do admire their siblings who, on both sides, were married, many of them for over 40 years.
Right. Okay. I think that's pretty awesome that
Yeah.
you had that example
Hmm.
to look at as well, because I didn't have those examples to look at, and so it's good to have that to see. And I remember your grandparents and how they were, even in their 80s and
Yep.
90s. So it was interesting to see the two of them.
Yeah. So what about you? Who do you admire and look up to?
I don't know. That's like an interesting question because I didn't have that relationship to look at coming up, and I think we all used to go back to the Huxtables, but
Oh my gosh.
we gonna leave Bill and
Now, let's be fair. Let's be fair. For many years, they were absolutely a couple that I admired.
yes,
On
Cliff
TV,
and Claire. We used
on
to see them.
TV. We will not get into the other mess, but I will tell you that they absolutely framed and shaped the type of family that I wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think about today, and everybody say Barack and Michelle.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what your
Queen.
political affiliation is,
She's still queen.
but they have an awesome relationship, and I think to be able to see that they love one another, and they're affectionate to one another. And I also think about I have a birthday that I share with one of the greats.
Yes. One of
And
my
so
faves.
Denzel and Pauletta.
Yes.
Denzel, cool brother. He kind of like we share some things in common.
Yes. Including that birthday.
Right, but it's kind of cool because it goes in tandem with what you said. Like Barack and Michelle been married for over 30 years. Denzel and Pauletta been married for over 40 years. So when you talk about, longevity, I was like, okay, look, we got our 25. We're tracking along that
Let's
as
go.
well. So, but you always want to see people who are doing it and doing it like they're doing it at such a high level as far as, the notoriety. And that could be an issue in and of itself. So, when you think about your grandparents, what was it about? Like, tell me more about what was it that you admired about them and their relationship?
Well, they did everything together. That's the honest truth. I mean, he went back in his early 80s to get his associate's degree. And when he graduated, they gave my grandmother an honorary certificate because they did things together. They talked about his homework together. She wasn't necessarily present for his courses, but they knew of her because he used her in his examples and things of that nature. They were a team. Did they always agree? Absolutely not. But one thing, I didn't see my grandparents fuss with one another.
Ooh,
And honestly,
come on now. Come on. Talk about that.
I did not see them fuss. Again, they disagree, and there were some archaic thoughts that my grandfather had. Yes.
Did you just call your grandfather? You call your grandfather a caveman?
Yes, sir, I did. So when we talk about, the fact that I don't really, let's put it this way, I don't really want to cook anymore. My granddaddy didn't know how to boil water. Okay, he never cooked for himself.
Wow.
Never cooked.
But you know what? That could have also been your grandmother's love language to him.
My grandmother, I love her dearly, but she couldn't cook. Okay, she she cooked.
It's like you can't have a love language in something that you can't do.
No. It wasn't her love language. She cooked, but she wasn't great at it. Let's be clear. She made zucchini bread, and that was awesome. But honestly, I do not remember much else that my grandmama made that was great.
So clearly, your granddaddy was like, you know what? You making this for me? I'm just gonna eat it.
Yes, I remember specifically one time. This was hilarious when we were at my mom. We were at my mom's house, and they were living with us, and you know, mom's working, and I'm going to college, and all of this, and you know, grandpa had a smile on his face when my mother came home from work. He was like, you know, we put them, they were getting Meals on Wheels, the food delivered to the elderly, and we put the meal in the microwave, so they just were waiting on it to be done. And mom said, well, I don't see it in the microwave. Grandpa had not put that thing in the microwave. He put it in the pantry. Okay. Now this when you know you need oversight. Okay. Grandpa had not gone to the right place to put the food. So here he got it out the refrigerator, praise the Lord, but it did not land in the right spot. You can't trust grandpa to cook food. He needed his food until the day he passed on. He needed somebody to be doing this stuff.
You know, look, he was getting up there.
He was. So I'm just
saying. You gotta give him a pass.
Yes, you give him some grace. So. But grandpa didn't cook.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just be clear. But they were a team. They did a lot together as a team. And I think that was, and grandma worked. So in her day and age, like, you know, it would be very easy for her not. She worked at the post office her entire, you know, working career. And she was a well-regarded person in her church community. So she was busy. You know what I mean? She didn't just raise her family. She did lots of things.
So there's a lot I hear you saying that you admired about them, because whether he cooked or did not, they still operated as a team.
Absolutely.
And I know there's so many things that can come up in relationships that serve to tear it down versus build it up. You know, the fact that even though he wasn't someone who prepared any sorts of meals, she still said, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. And they operated as a team. And, you know, and went out and did what they did. So,
yeah. What about you? So what do you admire about the Obamas and the Washingtons?
You know, I think, you know, and you could, I mean, I'm sure I could find other examples of this, but you look at those people who, well, Barack and Michelle, they're like both celebrities.
Yes.
You know, it's like between him and Donald Trump, I didn't even know presidents could be like celebrities.
Right.
That's what they had become, because before him, Bill Clinton wasn't a celebrity, or George Washington. I said George Washington.
Well, George Washington might today still be considered a celebrity.
Yeah, but I'm talking about, you know, George Bush, you know.
No, the Bushes, neither one of them.
Right, they weren't celebrities. I mean, they were presidents.
Do you think Ronald Reagan was a celebrity?
I mean, Ronald Reagan was an actor.
That's why I'm asking the question.
I mean, he was, I don't know. That's
because JFK was a celebrity.
That's it. Yeah, you're right. So anyway, like, you know, Barack and Michelle, they both celebrities.
Yes.
And, you know, Denzel's a celebrity. You know, everybody knows him. And some people may not even know who his wife is. But I think when you start getting to that level and you're able to let the other one shine. Yeah. You know, and without being jealous. I mean, we not friends with the Obamas.
I wish we were.
You know, and we're not friends with the Washingtons.
Right.
But it seems like they're able to let the other one shine. Mm-hmm. And so you can apply that to any relationship, no matter who you are. Like, someone may have a more successful career, or they have a position, you know, they're president or vice president or director or whatever. And the other person could just, you know, have not gauging jobs, but like you could just have, you know, regular job where you make income, you know, you enjoy what you do, but it's not like position per se. Yeah. But you can let that person shine and not be jealous of them, but truly be happy for them. And I think so many times you hear people say, "Oh, I'm happy for you," and you can see the indignation in their voice, or the condescension, undertone. Like, yeah, I'm happy for you, but they're really like hating.
Right. You know what? I can appreciate that you said that, because some years back, I really felt incredibly strong about, this is something that God said to me. He said, if you never hold your husband back, you've done your job.
Come on now.
And
I can't be held down.
Oh, Lord. Now, he did say, put him on a leash sometimes, because that dude, I got to reel you in. I got to reel you in. No, but
Look, people, I just take life lighthearted.
You do.
I like to enjoy myself. I don't take things too seriously, because life is too short.
It is. So. It is. But I think that speaks to what you just said. Let the other person shine. And I want you to be your best self. And if you are your best self, I too can be my best self. And it's reciprocal. I'm not doing it so that you can let me shine. I'm doing it because I want you to be the best version of you possible. And that is what, you're right. That is, I do see that very clearly in the Obamas, as well as, in the Washingtons, because I feel like, you can have a presence worldwide and still respect and be respected by your partner. And that is huge, because I feel like if we break down respect and honor and admiration between the two of us, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
And you think about it, it's that whole team thing, because, when you become a couple, you're a team. We're Team Young. And they say what? Together, everyone accomplishes more.
Oh, my gosh. I was just thinking that very thing.
Same brain.
Same brain.
So, and that's the thing, is that if we're a team and we're accomplishing more together, I want to see you shine. And I know that you shifted in some of your business, from what you were doing, with coaching to, getting on stages and having, hosting events and doing different things. And I have never felt like, I was like, look, I'm here to be, the support. I'm here to help you, and I want you to shine. It's like, look, let me trim your edges up, or, let me make sure you're all together before you go on stage, because as a team, we represent each other.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to go out there and fumble or not look your best or be at your best. So it's like, look, let me support you, because, your shine is my shine, because you represent me and I represent you. So it's like, look, I'm like, go do it. And I'm sure Barack was like, girl, well, Michelle, go ahead and write that second book.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, do it again.
Well, Michelle, the first one did so well.
Oh!
I'm going to need you to go ahead and write a second one.
Oh, my gosh. That was good, babe. I knew you could do impersonations, but it's getting hot in here. Okay, Barack.
Look, he was like, I'm going to get that bread, Michelle. I'm not in the White House anymore.
Oh, my gosh. I love it. Oh, my goodness. But, yeah, I think that it speaks to...
And for our other people out there, we're not going to discriminate.
I cannot.
Oh, people listening to this episode, relationship goals. That's what we're talking about.
Woo, Lord, you got me messed up over here. Okay.
I'm going to work on mine.
I don't even know what I was about to say. I'm just saying, you know what? My brain cleared out just now. Okay, so new topic.
Look, you know what? We want to bring you good content, but we want to have fun doing it.
Listen, you can have fun without the mic on, okay? And we going to have a good time. But, okay, so here is a question. What does success really look like? So I feel like for me, success was, I admired people because they had longevity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you admired them because they didn't diminish each other's shine. But what is a successful relationship entail? Because I think it's more than just those two things.
Yeah, I think if you bring it down to the surface level of, like, let's just say everyday people, I still think some of that same stuff is applicable. Because to me, a successful relationship is when good times or bad times arise, your behavior remains consistent. Because in good times, it's easy to talk about things when everything is going good, when you know you getting raises and bonuses and you getting out of debt. But when things get bad, people's behavior tends to shift and change because there's pressure, there's stress, there's frustration, and there's agitation. And so I think good relationships can be successful when you know how to navigate on both sides. When things are good, know how to navigate. And when things aren't as well, know how to navigate. Because I remember when I used to lead, sales teams, I would tell people, when you're winning, when you're having good success, that's when you really need to know what you're doing and be able to share and tell people what you're doing. Because when you're not, you may need to go back to some of those winning ways, and you got to do a deeper dive sometimes.
Yeah.
But in relationships, it's really being able to navigate the waters on both sides of it. Because, you can communicate, you can, work together, you don't point fingers. Because when things aren't going right, there's always a lot of finger pointing. This is your fault. You did this. You got us here. And all that does is create, this spiral, this downward spiral that can take you further away from resolution.
Yeah. I think that's spot on. And I'll take it even one step further in terms of what I see success looking like. It is actually in those down times knowing that you're going to get through it. Both of you having this knowing that it's uncomfortable, I don't like him or her, they getting on my nerves, I'm really frustrated, or we are at a stalemate in this decision and I don't know a way out, or we have this insurmountable thing in front of us, somebody's got to look for a job, or when stuff is hard, that you can honestly say, this is a season that I know we can survive. In the middle of the season, not when the season is over, or not when the answer shows up, or not when the circumstance changes. It's in the middle of it. You're like, we have the tools to get through it and be successful in this moment. And that's exciting to me. And so,
you know what? I'm gonna give a little nugget right here because it just came to me. And you have said that when one of us is mad, like if we're in a bad situation or something comes up, it's like if one of us is mad, both of us can't be mad.
right.
If something happens and one is responding, we both can't respond the same way.
Yes.
And so I think about that. Like even when we disagree, or if we don't see, eye to eye about something and somebody is more upset about it, I think about it. I was like, okay, well, if she upset, I need to just, I might be upset too, but I try to temper myself because I know that two upset people is not going to yield positive outcomes or results.
Yeah, that's good.
And I know if it's something and I know that applies a lot. Like if something has happened to us externally and I'm like going in, then you're like, well, he's already going in. So it doesn't make sense for me to go in because two of us going in is not going to get any better. Like, let me be the voice of reason.
Right. So what I'm hearing you say, and this is a term that I have begun to use more and more, but what I'm hearing you say is that it's unhelpful behavior.
That's a good way.
If both of us are angry, upset, over the top, emotional, whatever, it's unhelpful. And we're not helping the other party move through it in a natural and progressive way, or we're not allowing the solutions to arrive, or we're not allowing ourselves to, even hear from God. I think unhelpful behavior is something that we do need to avoid. And so we have learned, I would say probably in the last 10 years, maybe the yin and yang, right? How we bounce ideas off of each other, or we notice the mood of the other person and we adjust so that our behavior is helpful versus unhelpful.
Look, people who are listening to this, I'm gonna just give it to you like they gave it to us.
Uh-oh.
I remember when we first went through premarital counseling. So just put a pause. Like, if you gonna get married, get some counseling first.
Yes.
So you know what you're getting into.
True. And if you already married, get some counseling if you need it.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But what they said to us about marriage, which I have never forgotten, is that marriage is about giving up your right to be right.
Ooh, Jesus. That's so hard.
Might be some tough pills to swallow for some people,
it's
because
hard sometimes.
Everybody wants to be right.
I'm always right. So
okay,
we just gotta end right there.
See, people, this why you gotta just let God work.
I did get a sticker. My sticker. I got a new water bottle from my dear daughter for Christmas. And I had stickers all over my old one. And I'm a new human 2 years later. I feel like things have changed in my life. And the stickers that I had previously no longer apply.
Okay.
And so I have progressed into today's human.
Now, what does this sticker say?
Yes, I'm getting there.
Look, because I want to get to the point.
The point is, the sticker says, "As I suspected, I was right all along."
See, I learned the lesson 20-something years ago that marriage is not about my right to be right. I'm going to let you have that.
That's why somebody told you and not me.
Look, I'm going to let you have that. But, you need to embrace that. And, all jokes aside, like, I really think it's important, because what it does, sometimes it has to take your focus off just you.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the difficulty lies, in that people don't want to take their focus off of them.
Yeah.
They don't want to put it on the other person, because if you're meeting the other person's needs, then you have to trust.
Yeah.
Woo, that's that. Trust might as well sometimes be a 4-letter word instead of a 5-letter word.
Right.
Because people don't want to trust that if I do what I'm supposed to do, then you will do what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And relationships become more of a tennis match, a tit for tat, back and forth, back and forth.
Is this a volley?
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas, you're really supposed to be playing, doubles tennis,
yes.
where we're on the same team, not on opposing teams. So
that'll preach right there.
Look, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
That is it. So let me ask you this. So how do you feel like you need to maneuver between the imperfections of our human state, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we are all human and we all are imperfect. And then also feeling like we can move forward together as a team.
You know what? I'm just going to be practical. Is like the imperfections, when they show up, those typically show up by way of disagreement or, contention, because something has happened. And what I have to do is just take a moment away. Like I was telling you, like recently, sometimes I just need to go sit and be quiet and just let me gather my thoughts. And then it allows me to kind of press a personal reset. And that's really the thing that helps me stop and say, okay, am I thinking about this the right way? Am I approaching this the right way? And if not, how can I adjust? Because I can only be responsible for me. And if I take like healthy steps and healthy measures to ensure that I'm doing my part effectively, then I can come back to you and say, okay, we saw this thing differently. We, had a little, dust up or a skirmish or whatever you want to call it. And now I'm in a place where I can better hear what it is you have to say. So help me understand.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we talked about it in past episodes. People just want to be heard.
That's right.
And if you can effectively hear what your partner is saying and versus waiting for them to finish so you can respond.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can be listening and not hear because you're just waiting for your opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I go do that, I think that's how we get more resolution and resolve, because it's like, okay, well, let me just, okay, Chris, it take a lot for me to get upset.
Mm-hmm.
But when I get there, it's like, okay, I just want to, fighting ain't fair. I just want to fight now. But then you don't want to inflict harm and damage that is irreparable.
That's right. And I appreciate that, because I feel like knowing that about you has allowed us to take those times and just have the moment we need to have, be it leaving the room or just taking a couple of hours, running some errands or whatever it is, and creating space. That's important. I think the way that I would balance the imperfections is to know that this one thing is not the whole of who you are. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to...
You're good at that.
Yeah, I don't want to make someone's imperfection their whole being. That's not fair. Yeah. Because I don't want someone to make my imperfection the whole of who I am.
You do a good job looking at the brighter side of
try
things
so
and
hard.
Of people.
Mm-hmm.
I go back to the east side of Detroit sometimes, like we gonna fight.
And I feel like there's something
not me and you fight, but
right. No, for real. But it's a posture, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a posture, and I feel like there's so much more to a person than the worst thing that they've done or the one thing that they don't do right or whatever. And I can always learn from somebody. And so if I know that we're all imperfect, including myself, then that means there's grace to be had all the time.
I'm able to apply this to other people too, because you know me, man. You do me wrong, I write you off.
Right.
Like we good.
I know.
Because I play good defense.
Whew.
It's like, I know how to put the hand out there and keep people away, but I've actually tried to employ that with others and like, okay, you know what? Like you said, the worst thing they done is not the definition of who they are. Mm-hmm. I may be aware more like, okay, this is how I have to move with them or operate with them, and that'll help me navigate, my own personal feelings and emotions. But I try to use that, with others like I would use it with you. But I've got a question for you. Like, how can you, like, we talked about the imperfections, but what about when your spouse is winning? Mm-hmm. Like, they could be winning on the job, they could be getting notoriety, or they could be having successes in their business or career or just whatever they're doing. How do you handle seeing that and not get jealous?
Yeah, that's good, because I feel like both of us have had our shining moments. You know what I mean? And I think for me, when you win, I win. When I win, you win. I feel like your winning is a reflection of the fact that I haven't held you back, or you're making more money is a reflection of the fact that I haven't held you back. And so it's a team effort. You know what I mean? Us getting out of debt, we both had to be party to that.
We both won.
That's right. We both won. And so all of the decisions that needed to be made in the last 25 years, though one may see a shining moment, like when you got your MBA, that was fantastic. I got to witness that. I did get to witness your bachelor's as well. I got to see you graduate then too.
I should have just got you like a mock degree made when I got my MBA,
because that was rough, man.
Yeah, I feel like you got honorary MBA with me. So
that was rough.
You know what? Maybe okay.
But you
were right there with me. So
I was, and that's the thing. Like, and I had your back. Yep. So when we're talking about,
you held me down and you allowed me the freedom that I needed in that season to go off and study, and I studied abroad, and you all were here, and you were like, this dude is in South America, and I'm here with the kids,
and you were having an enjoyable time, and there was a part of me that was like, oh my gosh, like, he's essentially, the way that I saw it from my vantage point was he's having all the fun, and I'm here with the kids, and I got to go to work tomorrow, and I'm doing all of the work so he can do such and such. And the flip side of this is you could have very well felt that way when I left my job and I was exploring the business and I wasn't bringing in a whole bunch of money, and you like, she over here having fun and trying to figure this thing out, and currently it's a hobby. And this is the thing, like, when one shines or when one progresses, the other one does too. And the other thing is when I'm seeing other couples win. So, and
no haters over here.
Absolutely. I want couples to win. Like, when I see people reaching milestones or somebody has made a career change or whatever, like, that does my heart good, because I want, I know that God is no respecter of persons, but I also, when you win, we're all winning. Like, one good marriage is good for all marriages.
I even say when I see people like divorce or break up and then they come back and they get back together and reunite, that does my heart good. I was like, look, they made a decision and a choice to work through it.
Yep.
And I appreciate that, when they do that. But, back to this school, I ain't see you getting excited when I was doing statistics and accounting.
True. Very true.
Are you worried about me when I'm in South America? What about accounting and statistics and, econ courses? Yeah. Where were you at then?
Yep. I didn't take those classes in college. I was in engineering. I barely took stats. I definitely did not take econ. It was not required.
Look, people.
So here's the deal. Here's the question that I have for you is, when we're talking about relationship goals, how do we make it worth it?
We make sure we keep the other person's true intent at the center of it.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And I would say in making it worth it I would say that I think we really need to make sure that we do have aspirational people in our lives, and we just take a mental, just a moment to think about who we look up to, what are they doing well, and maybe there's some mentorship that's needed with those who are close by, but also, think about, why do you like the people what about the relationship matters to you, and how can you maybe, implement some of that in your relationship too. So I feel like, take it a step further when you see a couple that, is aspirational for you.
Awesome. Love it. Well, look, people, I'm glad that we were able to reconnect and talk about this, babe. So
yes, and happy
on this
Valentine's Day.
Day.
Woo woo. So I'm excited. I'm really glad that we got a chance to talk about all this. So until next time,
we're out. Thank you for spending some of your time with us today.
We appreciate all of your support. So be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen to this podcast.
You can find us on Instagram at For Better and Worth.
And sign up to receive our free guide, The 7 Reasons Your Money Relationship Isn't Working with Your Partner, on ForBetterandWorth.com.
Until next time, we're out of here.